Well, I posted 2 polls and you guys left no room for doubt, so here we are. I have made it no mystery that I love the Zed Technician series of indie horror titles. Their work is rapidly becoming a collection of fantastic and unique bite-sized indie horror experiences that are destined to be known as no less than classics. At least, I think so. I mean, they have their own playlists on my channel, linked below, and it's no understatement to say that Zed Technician rapidly rose to the ranks of my favorite prolific indie game devs. Each is a short but powerful game with interesting, unique mechanics that are entirely different from one another, but set in the same quirky, down-to-earth country town where demons, monsters, freaks, and weirdos abound. One romp through the breakout hit, The Man from the Window, and I was sold for life. But if they're all great games, which ones were my absolute favorites? Which would I rate at the top of the heap? Well, now with the latest title, The Warning Watch, I have exactly 10 games to pick from. So today, I'm going to rank all 10 in a convenient top 10 format for your entertainment today. The criteria I use is simply my silly opinion, and if you disagree, that's great. Leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts so we can compare some notes. All the games will be ranked in terms of their mechanics, their characters and storytelling, and their fear factor. Also, I will not be respecting spoiler warnings here, as the plots to each of these games are integral to the themes found within. So you've been warned. Go play these games for yourselves. Or, I have a full playlist of nothing but these games. So, join me for Snek's Top 10 Zed Technician Indie Horror Games. Number 10. No Strings Attached. The bite-sized Christmas story, No Strings Attached, comes in at number 10. And to be clear, I love all of these games, so the number 10 slot is merely the shortest among utter giants. The game is, by design, a simple, straightforward holiday romp about a three-eyed woman, who might or might not be a Satori, but that's just my guess, named Maggie. And she gets harassed in the hotel that she works and apparently also lives at by a mysterious shadowy entity with a skull for a face. She must then use the box tents, moving room to room, parsing the differences between each as she goes to solve the mystery laid out before her. The end result being that the giant monster was nothing more than an impetuous kid named Philip, and the entire thing was a misunderstanding. Maggie sets the dim but well-meaning boy on the right path with a dire warning that had he done more, he might have gotten himself in real trouble that he couldn't have gotten himself out of afterward. This game really ends up low, only because once you parse what the riddle of each room is, the randomization doesn't really break it up very much anymore. And while there are some good spooky moments and some great atmosphere, the game can be beaten in about 10 minutes, and there's nothing in the way of alternate endings apart from you either winning or you losing. However, should you feel festive, this is a great game to crack open anytime. Plus, there's not very many Christmas-themed horror titles, so it has that going for it too. Number 9. The Bit More No Zero. The oldest game currently available on Zed Technician's itch page, with the removal of some others sharing similar monikers, this one tells the story of Sandra en route to a family get-together when her car breaks down in the dark, spooky woods. Her only company is a phone with no reception, and deer who meander around aimlessly, right up until a tall, lanky forest monster starts trying to pry the vehicle's doors open. So Sandra decides to answer the intrusion with a shotgun to the muzzle. She then must fight to stay awake and alive until the sun rises and give her cover to flee, resulting in one of the funniest endings in any of these games. The tension is very high, with the monster able to approach from any direction it desires, including over your head, and your soul-saving grace is limited ammo and the ability to swivel on a dime. Midway through the night, sleep tries to overtake our heroine, and you have to fight to maintain consciousness and continue the battle until dawn. Much like No Strings Attached, there's no real variables to consider, as any given playthrough will look very much like any other, and there's only one ending to be had. However, the atmosphere more than makes up for an engaging and engrossing experience that you need to try out for yourselves. Check it out. Number 8. Artifacts and Antiquity. When Gracie, a young human woman, I feel the need to clarify because that shan't be the norm for long here, finds herself unexpectedly out of work, a friendly soul guides her to a new job at Stahl & Co. Shipping Company. All seems normal as she gets to meet her coworkers and start the night shift, but a mysterious artifact in the warehouse unleashes the woman known only as Nameless. Wait, is she still nameless if Nameless is her name? Never mind. Nameless comes to their aid to inform them that the ancient Egyptian gods are full of wrath and demand the return of their artifacts stored in the warehouse. So Gracie and her co-workers, Mike and Miss Faye, must now avoid the servants of the gods in order to safely retrieve the items before the patience of the gods runs out. This game plays more like a turn-based puzzle game, navigating your co-workers one screen at a time, using a grid of cameras laid out across the warehouse, and using different tools as necessary to ferry them safely to and from the randomly designated artifact rooms. The timer, coupled with divine interference, randomized jump scares, and more, create an aura of urgency, where you want to complete your tasks as quickly and efficiently as possible, but once you get the hang of the game, the turn-based nature of the puzzle will likely lose a bit of its fangs, hence a respectable number 8 placement. Number 7. The Man from the Window. Likely the reason you or I know about Zed Technician and the ever-growing world his games take place in, The Man from the Window was a bit of a sensation when it dropped. Not just for its, shall we say, distinctive character designs, Mama Rabbit is my waifu, fight me nerds, but also for an intuitive, simple, but fiendish challenge of keeping the titular man from the window at bay by using both your environment, quick thinking, and the riddle-laced book the Rabbit family get their hands on. The book is randomized in each playthrough, and both Mama Rabbit and Junior need to find hiding places, and you need to stall for what might end up being the longest 5 minutes of your life. The tension is real, and the down-home style omnipresent, and the charming characters make you want to do your best and ensure that the family is saved from this terrifying man haunting their home. It's simple, it's punchy, it's replayable, and it's likely why we're all here in the first place. So The Man from the Window clocks in at number 7. Number 6. Midnight Maid Night. 2 midnight maids work through the night of the old Vermander estate in order to pack up and move out all the belongings of the old household, only to find out there's a lot more waiting for them inside than boxes and assorted heirlooms. A friendly, talkative ghost of one Jonathan Vermander serves as a narrator and tutorial for the ever-increasing hostility of the barren walls of his childhood home, including the violent, tormented soul of his own berserk father, the near-blind, vengeful ghost of the fallen family butler, and the feral visage of Jonathan's former fiancée, all haunting the rooms as you progress later into the night. The deadline swiftly approaches, the ghosts in the manor hound you at every step, and also you're a giant cockroach. The odds are, simply put, against you. Thankfully, your steadfast companion, Naomi, holds the light for you and will help you assess each room if you take the time to talk to her, something that I must sheepishly admit that I missed in my first playthrough of the game, and clues you in on what items need to be packed in each room. In my first few runs, I struggled to win, and to this day, that long hallway with no doors in it still is the stuff of nightmares, but the friendship between Ruth and Naomi is a wholesome one beyond belief, and to top it off, the tragedy of Jonathan Vermander adds a bittersweet taste to the tale. It's everything a great story ought to be. Number 5. The Warning Watch. As of this writing, this is the newest of the Zed Technician games, and it still maintains that charm and character and all those things that these games embody. Playing as a Chimeran woman, Deborah, and her snake-tail companion Sammy as they are hounded by a demonic invader. But there's no time to be lost since she still has her day, or rather, night job to contend with. So it's not like I can ignore one or the other. Forced between death and the unemployment line, Deborah must rise up to the challenge of exorcism and soul-crushing routine labor. But at least she gets to work from home, right? This game has an excellent atmosphere where the otherwise mundane task of adding items to a list is interrupted by threat of impending doom. The gauntlet you run can be met with many different variables and lots of ways the game can mess with your sensibilities. It proudly holds a tradition of fantastic high-quality games, all hinged on simple premises. Absolutely wonderful. Number 4. The Man from the Window 2. The first, and at present only, direct numbered sequel to one of the fantastic games revisits Mama Rabbit some unspecified but implied length of time after the first game, where Junior is now grown up and works for Stall & Co. Shipping Company, and Mama Rabbit is now a Grandmama Rabbit. It's okay, Diane. I don't mind that you're a grandmother. You remain my waifu. That said, the Man from the Window never let a loss get him down, and has apparently been hounding the same family non-stop over the course of several years. Taking Audrey, her granddaughter and Junior's child, under her figurative wing, Mama Rabbit must frantically collect the pages of the book and reassemble them to find the hints and use them to rule out what hiding spots the man has already considered. This is a masterful sequel because it takes the basic principles established all in the first game and expounds upon them in new, interesting ways, and the randomized nature of the game means repeat playthroughs take a good number of runs to become stale in any way. It's worth undertaking the harder difficulty in order to see the extended ending, because the character interactions are a huge part of what make these games so amazing. And to see Mama Rabbit passing the torch to her younger family members as those who will repel the man in the future is heartwarming in a curious, unique way, I suppose. Number 3. The Fish's Tale. A tale of coming of age and the unlikely friendship between the witch, Monica, and an anglerfish, Angela, as they have to contend with a terrifying, enormous fish-like creature full of horrifying parasitic critters that live within who want nothing more than to pour out and eat every living thing in their path. You know, just another Tuesday in this world. So the game operates in 2 phases. The prep phase is Monica, who has to put together her potions via helpful recipe cards found on her laptop. Have I mentioned I love these games? Because I do. And then the chase phase, where Angela takes off down the randomly generated roads to her destination, using her shining dangling lure as her light. As an aside, as I haven't been able to bring it up before now, I love how the animal features of these characters in each game has some mechanical repercussions on how the game is played. It makes them much more compelling than just animal who happens to be a person at the same time. The frenetic chase scenes are high tension and high quality all in one. Limited firepower of the amulet Monica provides you is just strong enough to ward off the parasites and keep you safe to collect each of the chains for the binding ritual, but your enemies are relentless in their pursuit. I love this one a lot, hence the number 3 placement, and the fast camaraderie between the 2 leads is organic and suits the mood nicely. The timer's counting down and you've a world to save, so better put your tracksuit on and get to it. Number 2. The Vermander Curse. A small-town hospital with just 2 people working in it, and one of them just got off the bus into town, but with only 3 patients, it can't possibly be that busy, can it? Well, little do Dr. Ida and Nurse Morton know, but the greedy and corrupt J.P. Vermander has other ideas in mind. Summoning a literal demon to erase that which dared to siphon even the smallest of his profit margins away, Ida and Morton must take turns throughout the night obeying an increasing list of potential threats to themselves and their wards, all the while abiding by their patients' medical needs, like the drunk axolotl Tammy, who wanders around aimlessly in a haze, or the other 2 patients, a dog and an octopus in this case, who require additional pain medication to make it through their night. And that's to say nothing of the literal, actual demon trying to hunt down any source of blood it can find, chiefly yours. It creates an atmosphere where you want to work as swiftly and efficiently as possible, all the while keeping in mind the myriad ways the demon presents a danger to you and those around you. It's a fantastic combination of factors, easily claiming my number 2 spot. Number 1. Beware the Shadowcatcher. My personal number 1 choice is, of course, Beware the Shadowcatcher. Let's review key facts. 2 lovely playable ladies, quirky shadow family who want nothing more than a nice night on the town, cooking, and terrifying sneaky antagonist who wants nothing more than to get in and tear it all to ribbons. It's a very simple setup with what feels like an awful lot at stake, especially because the Shadowcatcher himself loves to think up new ways to mess with you, including crawling like a silent worm, dashing at the door at full sprint, and even teleporting into the kitchen from a shadowy wall. Just about had a heart attack when I first experienced that. But, when combined, all these factors create an outstanding experience. The tension keeps you aware, moving Sam and Maud strategically, but efficiently. While there is no overarching timer on your progress, unlike most of the games on this list, the night doesn't end till you complete all 3 dishes and deliver them. There's also subtle differences in the speeds of the heroines move at, and that in the normal mode, instead of simply ordering a dish like some kind of pleb, the Shadow family order by way of riddles based on process of elimination. Everything about this game is positively overflowing with that Z Technician charm, wit, and precisely fine-tuned mechanics and game balance. And that's why, for me, it's my number 1 choice out of all their games thus far. And that was my personal top 10 games by Z Technician. What did you guys think? Was I fair? Did my points make sense? What does your list look like? Leave a comment telling me all about it. Also, since shilling is non-optional, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And most importantly, go to Z Technician's itch page and start playing these games for yourselves. The most any of them will ever cost you is $1, and most of them are downright free. You owe it to yourself to dive into these amazing indie horror titles and the amazing world they're crafting in each installment. Oh hey, there's an idea. Leave a comment telling me what you'd think of a follow-up lore analysis of the games thus far. Anyway, this has been the Hipster Snek. Thanks for joining me, and join me here every day from our Let's Plays, including these amazing titles as they come, reviews, podcasts with my Tomodachi Bros, and much more. And I will see you there.